So we're on to the wash for the BMW M3 E36, and we're going to be using Chemical Guys HoneyDew Snow Foam. So now if you guys have been around, HoneyDew Snow Foam holds a special place in my heart. This is the first snow foam product that we could get. You know, when you first get your first pressure washer, you get your first foam cannon, because you see all the videos online of guys doing it. And I picked up this, put it in there, and guess what? This stuff smells amazing. So we're going to be washing this vehicle, and then once there's soap on the vehicle after we're done rinsing each panel and washing, we're going to use the HoneyDew as a clay lubricant to clay the vehicle, because at the end of this the project of this car, we're going to be doing a all-in-one polish line just to kind of freshen up the paint. So this car is a track car, so it's got love marks everywhere from being pushed around, and you want to make this thing look really good. So let's get this thing foamed down. Now, just a side note, guys, this is a legit track car, so there actually are no windows on the sides of the car, so we're not going to be able to foam the whole thing out like crazy. So we're just going to be precision with it and make sure we just get the hood, the kind of areas. The owner did say if a little bit of soap gets in the car, it's going to be okay. So here we go. One thing with the HoneyDew Snow Foam is this kind of brings me back. It's the smell of this product. It literally does smell like honeydew. Chemical Guys does a good job of, they have other kind of scented soaps, but this soap in particular, and if you detailers know what I'm talking about, you just get like that. It just kind of brings back good memories, because when I first got into detailing, this was one of the first like bigger products I started using, like I said, as a snow foam, and it just brings me back to when I first started many years ago. But I love me some honeydew. So we're going to wash this nice and gingerly. But what we're going to do is we're going to be using the soap from this product as a clay lubricant. So as we wipe over the car, you see there's still soap on the surface, and if we come out the mic, we can hear that this paint needs to be clayed. So before we're going to bring a polisher to the surface of the paint, we're going to make sure it's nice and, as I like to say, exfoliated. So it's the same thing like when you would go to before you put lotion on your body, you want to exfoliate it with like those little scrubbing pads to get all the dead skin off before you apply lotion. Well, it's the same thing in this situation. We're going to get all this bonding contamination off the paint before we go to polish the car later. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our nanoskin clay mitt. No, sorry, this is the clay towel. We also have the clay mitt. Then you're going to lay this down on the paint. I'm going to use this to decontaminate. Now this, as far as like how you go over the paint, as long as you're rubbing back and forth, and you can feel it getting smoother and smoother as it's pulling contamination off of the paint, pulling all that roughness off. And if we come back and feel nice and quiet, because it pulled everything off. So I'm gonna make sure this process gets done. So we're going to finish washing the rest of this car, and then the main thing you want to remember is the panel needs to be washed first. So if you guys are working with somebody, they wash the panel, you come back and do the claying. If you get really good, you can do both hands, have one hand washing the panel, your other hand is claying. So we get a lot of guys that come in and they're looking for clay bars, and they're asking, what's the difference between, your newer clay, these like rubberized clay textured medians, or your old school clay bars. There are plates for both. So the thing with me is I usually tell guys, if you're working on older vehicles, so we're talking like someone from the 80s, 70s, 60s, older, and it's got original paint on it, or it's a car's got a lot of curves on it, there still is a place for these traditional clay bars. So this is just the Max Shine ultra fine clay bars that we have. We have them come in 3-packs. The mitts themselves will be a little bit more expensive. The main difference is going to be with the mitts, you are not going to see the contamination. So if I go over and you guys hear that contamination, I can take this mitt and rub over. All that's really going to happen is the foam will sometimes start to turn brown as it's pulling contamination off of the vehicle. Versus with your more traditional clay bars, I have to sit here and rub the panel. You want to make sure you put this into like a patty or like a flat section. You don't want to be doing like, I've seen some guys that just do like one finger. Or do it real tight. You want to make sure that the clay bar is nice and flat, and you have to kind of knead it into like a pancake, and you go and just kind of rub it so you're getting nice and even pressure. But with these, same thing, you'll kind of feel them as they're shearing off the contamination, because clay isn't abrasive. So when I take this and flip this over,
See how brown it is? So that's all that road film and stuff and iron, all that contamination built up. But on the clay bars, you can physically see it. But now I have to take this, fold it up, back into like make it into a patty, get a nice clean side, and sit there and get it flat again. Versus with these, you just keep going. The other thing with these is if I drop this, I can wash off and reuse it. If you drop these, toss them. Don't try to reuse them because, you know, you get a rock in here, you go play with a car, and you're like, hey, where all the scratches come from? It's from you doing this. So that's going to be your main difference, and you still need both. So I typically will have one of these, and I'll use this for most of your cars. Regular the synthetic clay mitts are good. All right, guys, this is part 2 that we're using Chemical Guys HoneyDew snow foam. So we foamed it down. We used the lubrication from the foam in this to actually go and clay the vehicle, and this thing really needed to be clayed. It was bad. There's actually a few sections I need to go over with the actual clay bar, so stay tuned for part 3. We're going to be doing a quick comparison between all of the all-in-one polishes that we carry here in the store.